Oh, baby. I want to get right into it, man. Good morning, all YouTube, Twitch.
I just woke up. What happened today?
First NorCal Credit Union, Twitch and YouTube, Graveyard Shift Workers, Comcast Business Text Line, Dub Nation, you know what time it is. I'm just reading through a Rudy Gobert story from John Krasinski and Sam Amick of The Athletic. It is some interesting quotes. Rudy Gobert on the choke. He goes, I could feel that it was him. He's grabbing me.
No way.
But the choke wasn't.
No
so
way.
Rudy no, seriously. He's grabbing me, Gobert recalled. But the choke wasn't good enough. Yeah, it wasn't enough for me to really have to go to sleep. But he tried. He tried really hard. But it wasn't good enough to where I felt like I was really in danger of falling asleep or something like that. This is a real quote. Gobert also said it was a long time, and if he knew how to choke, it could have been way worse. He tried to. His intention was to really take me out, and I kept my hands up the whole time just to show the officials that I wasn't trying to escalate the situation. These are real quotes. Again, more quotes from Rudy Gobert.
This is incredible.
It's kind of funny because before the game, he said, it's kind of funny because before the game, I was telling myself that Steph is not playing, so I know Draymond is going to try to get ejected. Because every time Steph doesn't play, he doesn't want to play. It's his guy, Steph. He'll do anything he can to get ejected. These are real quotes.
Bonte. Wait, go to the beginning. I could feel it was. Read that one again.
Well, he just goes, here's a beginning as we have Anthony Slater old. The chase of the crowd was roaring. This is just a great lead by Sam Amick and John Krasinski. And I saw Amick last night in the media room. He was working hard. The chase of the crowd was roaring. Jaden McDaniels and Klay Thompson were scrapping, and Rudy Gobert was right in the middle of the chaos when he felt a burly right arm wrap around his throat. He couldn't see who was on his back, but he didn't have to. He knew exactly who the arm belonged to. His longtime nemesis, Draymond Green. And here's the quote.
This is like a Marvel comic strip.
And here's the quote.
Incredible.
I could feel that it was him. Gobert told the Athletic.
I knew it was you, Joker. I knew it was you.
Man. So, our 95-70 game.
Tom, you got to be kidding. Long-time nemesis. Dude, these guys got to start writing for Hollywood. That is incredible.
Sam Amick, John Krasinski.
Oh, my God.
And the guy who's part of the squad, Anthony Slater.
I'm crying.
95-70 game, NBA insider, Anthony Slater. We love him. We have him on every single week.
Me to sleep.
I had to tell the boss man. I know Anthony Slater was... he's basically made this company bankrupt, Anthony Slater, because we pay him so much money. But I got to have him on every week. I'm sorry. He's worth every damn penny. So we have Anthony Slater on right now. Anthony, I saw him sipping red wine out of a can. That's how long his night was.
Batman. I knew you'd get free.
Anthony Slater's been on hold for 6 minutes. We got to get him a word in. We got to get our bang for our buck here.
B.
Anthony, what's happening? Good morning.
I'm dying.
Y'all having a good time this morning?
Hey, I'm having a great time. Hey, I saw Anthony Slater yesterday. What is is it the Bill King Media Center? Which one is that?
Yes.
The Bill King Media Center. Anthony Slater sipping red wine out of a can. I was like, man, it's a long night for my guy. He's sipping red wine out of a can. So I just read that lead. I guess we'll just start there. Anthony, your thoughts on what happened a minute 43 seconds into the basketball game?
It was different. I've covered a lot of games. I have definitely never seen a scuffle at 0-0. It almost, I think it is the benefit of the, double game, the baseball series. Like, do you think that happens if they hadn't played the Wolves 2 nights before and there was a little bit built up frustration?
Probably not.
Yeah. And I mentioned built up frustration. You guys were just referring to it, but yeah, the Draymond Green, Rudy Gobert history. I think right when you saw it go down, it was like, where do you think Draymond Green is heading right now?
Oh my God.
And I'm sure, the NBA is going to review this incident over the next 48 hours or so. I'm sure that's all going to be wrapped into it.
All right.
Go ahead.
All right. Let's just, how many games?
I don't know. This is a complete guess, speculation. Again, the league has to talk to a lot of people involved. My guess, because of his history and how it went down, probably like 1-3, right? Does that seem like the ballpark we're probably talking? Right. But maybe 0. I don't know. He's going to talk to the league today. A lot of people are going to talk to the league. I know the Warriors, who, a lot of people on their side of things were upset last night that Rudy Gobert was deemed a peacemaker. And all of it, they were saying, hey, look, he's on Klay Thompson when Draymond Green comes in, and that's Draymond Green's rationale for coming in. So that's going to be some of their side of the argument, like he's trying to pull Rudy Gobert off. But again, as the referee said postgame they deemed that it was a long chokehold that continued all the way to the ground.
Yeah, well, he had him. It was like 15 feet. I don't mean to laugh, but instead of a WWE, I couldn't focus on the game for like the next 15 minutes. Like, what just happened? So, Anthony, I saw you last night. You told me to ask you this on the air. You told me to ask you this on the air. You're the reporter for the pool reporters for the referees, right? So how does that work? Do they randomly select a media member? How does that work? How do you become a pool reporter?
They ask you pregame, and I would say, look, if I cover 82 games over the course of a regular season, I'd say like 30 of them, I'm the pool reporter. But to be honest with you, like maybe once or twice a year, I'm actually needed. It's more common in the playoffs, and I'm often the pool reporter for home games in San Francisco in the playoffs. Just because, controversial calls feel more important, so you want to get an answer from the referee. But, among the things that was very rare last night, I was like, I'm going to need a pool report. I knew that after 2 minutes of the game. So it gave me plenty of time. I have to email them. You have to, go through the questions you're going to ask. They have to talk to the ref post-game. Then you get a Zoom link, and then you ask the questions that are kind of like pre-selected. It's a little bit of a strange process.
So it's Zoom. So you're looking at a referee through Zoom.
Yeah, even though he's like in the same arena I'm in.
So explain to me, like, why wasn't Gobert teched up or ejected from this game?
Well, I mean, he's like the one thing I will say about the referees is like they give a pretty succinct, obviously pre-planned response. And they said he was a peacemaker. They thought he was trying to, pull apart Klay Thompson and Jaden McDaniels. Again, the Warriors were cackling about this explanation, and there was definitely a bunch of screenshots being sent around internally last night of, I'm sure you guys have all seen it, right? Gobert's got, I wouldn't call it a chokehold on Klay, but he's definitely got his arm wrapped around Klay.
Right.
And, saying, this is the peacemaker. Shouldn't you go to your own teammate to pull him apart? But, to answer your question, the officials didn't give him anything because they said he was peacemaker.
So
That's
what is your take on Draymond's actions? Because I thought, look, this ejection was warranted. In 2 of the last 3 games, we see what's happened. We see the IG post. Draymond's going to be Draymond. That's who he is. He's not going to change for anybody. But he gets kicked out of the Cleveland Cavaliers game, all right? He starts chirping at Anthony Edwards Sunday. Anthony Edwards goes off, and they win a game going away. And then yesterday happens. So where are you at with Draymond's actions overall over the last 3 games, Anthony?
Yeah, I don't mind that ejection last night as much because, I usually judge it on, like, how it's viewed internally, right? There are times where he gets ejected, when he's going at the refs or he's, preoccupied with something over there. And it's like, man, that really, like, impacted the team and it was unnecessary. You felt the locker room last night, like, they were kind of happy that he came to Klay Thompson's defense.
Right.
They felt, they were like, look, he just kind of got in the mix of that's kind of his role on the team, right? Klay Thompson's getting tugged down by the jersey, like, go in there and, like, thump around a little bit. He may have taken it overboard, but, I did not sense any internal, like, frustration about Draymond last night where, obviously on past ejections you do.
Right. So what do you make of the Klay Thompson, Jaden McDaniels situation? Because Steve Kerr said, hey, look, he was mad that Klay did get ejected. And, look, I thought maybe a double technical there, but I also thought Klay initiated it by pulling the jersey first. Now, they were getting handsy there. What did you make of that situation, which obviously started the whole Draymond Green, Rudy Gobert situation?
Yeah, I think that was an example of what I was talking about earlier. Like, they played the Timberwolves 2 nights earlier. I know they talked plenty, going into it, like, be physical, right? Come out, like, bump them around. No Steph Curry. Like, this needs to be kind of a physical game. And I thought Klay was just getting physical on a box out, like, kind of, trying to insert his presence. And then it turned into this weird, like, tug-of-war that I think both, by the end of it, we're like, I went a little overboard. I would have been fine with a double technical, and allow both those guys to keep playing. Certainly, from Klay's side, like you said, he kind of initiated the contact. I don't think he wanted it to get to, like, shoving. But once the Gobert, Draymond stuff happened, I think the referees just decided, this went so over the top that everyone involved needs to go.
All right. The hard part is that everything that happened overshadows the big picture of the team free falling right now in terms of a 4-game losing streak. And then certain guys are playing themselves into more time and out of more time. It feels like CP3 and Saric, like that's a great combination. It's working. Maybe they're using it too much out of necessity right now because you don't want to run those guys into the ground. Trace Jackson-Davis needs to play more. Podziemski looks like he's not going to replicate what he did last night. He could play more. Kuminga bad game, really bad game. Moody, I feel like, never gets enough run. So, like, where are we at with this team and the rest of the players on them that have to go forth and try to win games right now?
39 minutes for Brandon Podziemski last night,
Yep.
Which was like, I mean, I know they're shorthanded, but, you know, when he's getting 39 and Moody's getting like 12, Kuminga's getting 14, it's got to be, I mean, difficult, I'm sure, for Moody and Kuminga to see something like that, right? Because they've been told the last couple of years, like, you're young, you know, your time will come. Well, they're getting leaped now by a younger guy. Where, you know, Brandon Podziemski's 19 years old, and he's playing, you know, double, triple their minutes last night. But, you know, I don't know, Kerr's being pretty transparent about it. He just loves the way Podziemski plays. So I don't know what that translates to, but he basically guaranteed him a rotation role last night.
Good.
I don't know. Well,
doesn't it make sense, Anthony, as we're talking to Anthony Slater here on 95.7 The Game on a Warriors Wednesday, brought to you by Friedman's Appliance, a trusted name since 1922. Visit friedmansappliance.com today. Anthony, it makes sense, though, because the one thing they're lacking, even when they did start 6-2, is more creators, more guys who could do some things off the dribble. They don't have a lot of guys who could create their own shot. Podziemski's one of those guys. So to me, it makes sense that he's going to get a rotation spot. Don't you agree?
Yeah, and the thing is, like, this isn't a last night thing. He didn't just, like, win it last night. He's won it for the last month. You know, really going back to, like, day one of training camp, I remember Steve Kerr comes in the press conference, and he's like, yeah, we scrimmaged today, and, like, the red team won, the third team. Podziemski, Trace Jackson-Davis, they were awesome. They had, like, Rodney McGruder on their team. I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. He's kind of hyping up the rookies. And then as camp goes on, I remember he'd be like, he's leading our team in deflections. You know, they're tracking all the deflections. And then he comes in his first NBA game in New Orleans, and, like, Kerr was glowing because he got 8 rebounds in whatever it was, like 18 minutes. And then you see it last night. He's calling him a good defender, connects the game, good passer. You know, I'm not sure I would go as far as good defender, but he is kind of physical out there. Obviously, he does get rebounds. You know, the passing, the ball moves quick. Like, you could tell, like, you know, and again, you've got to credit the front office for shifting their focus a little bit. They went analytics-driven on this draft. Podziemski popped in their analytics model, and they went Kerr system heavy, right? These are guys that they know, hey, this guy can play for Steve Kerr. And they were right. You know, you can see it right away. And it lengthens their rotation, but it does, you know, create some question marks about who gets bumped down.
Also overshadowed yesterday was the news about Stephen Curry, right? Steve Kerr mentioned that it's day-to-day with his right knee sprain.
Yeah, very minor. You know, they said good news post-game. Maybe he misses the first Thunder game. Maybe he misses both Thunder games, but he'll be back, like, within the week.
Boy, he misses both Thunder games. It's good that he's okay and he won't miss a long period of time, but they're 0-3 in the 6-game homestand. They got to get a win here.
Suspension comes down this morning, you think?
Probably tomorrow, right?
Yeah, I would say, like, end of the day New York time today or tomorrow, because that's just, like, that's how the league office operates. But, you know, they're going to talk to a lot of people today, and including they're going to try to talk to Draymond, I'm sure. Before
we let you go, Anthony, because we do appreciate the time, you waking up early with us. I know you had a long drive from Chase Center last night. Where's this team at as a whole? They're 6-6 right now, and they got off to a great start, 6-2, 7 of the first 9 on the road. They go 5-2 on the road, and now they're 1-4 at home. What is this basketball team? 12 games in. Who are they?
Yeah, I think they're forming the identity. I think they're okay as far as, like, standings wise. Right, the West is there's not some crazy separation. You know, I don't think they're going to you know, necessarily catch the Nuggets and chase down the 1 seed, but they're not falling, you know, behind. They need Andrew Wiggins to wake up from a shooting perspective. I thought he was more active last night. Rebounded better. I think he had 3 steals last night. He only had 2 steals all season coming into the game. Klay Thompson, you want to see him shoot better. Maybe he would have last night. We don't know. And then, you know, I mean, figure out this rotation. You know, figure out if you can, you know, poke Moody and Kuminga in there more. But I think they're trying to solve themselves, and they're going through a little bit of a rough patch. But, you know, going 5-2 on the road to start the season gave them a little bit of leeway.
No doubt. Anthony Slater, you're the best, man. Thanks so much for spending time with us. We'll talk to you next week, brother. Keep up the good work at The Athletic.
All right, fellas.
Anytime. Anthony Slater, our 95.7 The Game insider here on the Rose, breaking down what happened last night.